In the end, Amazon went with the logical choices for its new East Coast headquarters. It chose the financial and political capitals of the East Coast. Amazon announced its headquarters will be split between Crystal City, Virginia, basically Washington, D.C., and Long Island City in New York City. Amazon promises 25,000 well-paid employees in each location. Columbus was in the running. It made the list of 20 finalists. City leaders say Columbus had the workforce, a low cost of living. They promised better transportation. And the state and city offered nearly $3 billion in tax breaks, but it wasn't enough. Kathy Kandinsky, did we miss an opportunity or dodge a bullet?
Well, obviously, low cost of living didn't really play out because they picked two of the most expensive areas of the nation. You kind of wonder with how the picks ended up if we ever really had a shot at this at all. But to your question of is it a blessing, it could be. I mean, this is going to cost the state a lot. I think we were offering almost $3 billion, as you said in your opening, in incentives. There would be a lot of traffic, as we were talking about earlier. I mean, there's a lot of negatives that come with this as well. But they were good-paying jobs, and that was certainly a plus for our economy.
Just 50,000 jobs, $100,000 a year or higher. Real estate agents are disappointed, Derek.
Yeah, yes, they are. But I think in the long run, this is going to be a good thing for Columbus. Obviously, we didn't get Amazon, which is one of the largest tech companies in the world, but I think that this positions us very well for some other tech companies that might be interested in Central Ohio and some other companies that are looking to make their home in the Midwest. I mean, we're the 13th largest city in the country right now. We have a thriving economy. We have a airport that goes to most places. Most places you can get a direct flight from international. Yeah. So I think it's going to be good for us in the long run, even though we didn't make it this time.
Whitney, was Amazon worth $3 billion in incentives?
What I'd really like to see is Columbus focus on small businesses that we have here. I think that we've seen historically that big corporate handouts like this, they don't work. They actually increase taxes and really lower the quality of services that we have. So if we are looking to grow business and stimulate the economy, I'd love to see tax breaks for businesses in this state and help grow our own businesses in the state.
And I think it's interesting to bring up how much, you talk about the $3 billion, how much the state and communities are offering to these entities and how much they pay off. I mean, Columbus has offered a lot, and the state offered a lot to Facebook as well as Amazon, and then there were some other offerings in other parts of the state to other tech companies. Do these things actually result in a return on investment? And I think that's the next question to ask, and also a transparency issue. I know Columbus has revealed some of its details, but the city of Cleveland, reporters there have been trying to get details about what their bid was for Amazon. They weren't even in the finalists. Yep. But, you know, these transparency issues I think are important to people, and certainly they are to journalists, to try to find out what was at stake here, what was the community willing to offer, or what were community leaders willing to offer.
To your point of how much we should be paying to offer these companies that are obviously making billions of dollars themselves, what I would ask, what choice do we have? I mean, if every other city in the competing is offering these incentive packages, how can we step back and not? Although I agree with your point that it's how do we get existing businesses to pay for all this to get these companies to come? That seems rather unfair, of course.
Yeah. Dirk, did we get others in the 300 or so other cities that made bids to Amazon get played? Because let's face it, you don't need a lot of incentives to go to New York City or Washington, D.C.
Right.
I mean, you've got the transportation infrastructure, the commerce and the workforce are there. You really don't need a tax break to locate there, but yet they're getting tax breaks in those two cities.
Well, of course. I mean, for a company like that, it's a logical choice. They're both international cities. Amazon is an international company. But I think that they looked at Columbus, for one, the way our public and private partnerships work together. We have a very good way that we do things that's called the Columbus Way. That's been studied, that everybody knows. It's been studied around the country and the world. But at the same time, I think that Columbus is central because it's so central to not only the most of the population in the United States, but we're a major logistics hub, and I think that that's one of the things that Amazon was looking for. Not to mention their companies that they have here now.
And they do have data centers and distribution centers here. Transportation was a major concern. The city addressed it in their bid, saying, "Well, we're going to do something about it, but we have highways. That's it." I mean, COTA does a decent job, but
We
it's
have bike
not-
paths
We
now.
have bike paths and
And
highways.
scooters.
Scooters. As it gets colder, the scooters disappear. But what are we going to do about transportation? Because I mean, you're not going to attract a company that size without a good transportation infrastructure. I think that was one lesson.
And I think they went to two cities that have really established transportation, public transit options. I mean, you can debate all day on whether they're good public transit options, but they are public transit options.
You don't need a car to get to work in D.C.
Right.
or, but in Columbus you do.
Right.
It seems like the city leaders for transportation, they're banking on autonomous cars and driverless buses and trucks and things like that. They're sort of bypassing the whole rail thing. Is that a wise move at this point? I mean, they're looking ahead, but it's unproven technology.
Well, I think historically we've seen when the railroad idea was introduced to link the major cities in Ohio, it was shut down. But I think one positive thing we can take out of this Amazon, the bid that we lost, would be that probably we all are really aware now that transportation is an issue, and hopefully that City Council in Columbus will address the transportation issue, which is beyond just a business problem, is a problem of creating food deserts, access to health care, a variety of other issues.
Access to good
I wonder
jobs.
if they
Yes.
took that $3 billion and they're willing to offer in incentives and put it towards something like that, whether that might be a payoff down the road.
Yeah, well, we can keep kicking the can down on the transportation issue for a little while longer, but it's catching up to us now. I mean, we talked before the show started that traffic is a nightmare already, but I do know that we have some very innovative leaders at COTA that are looking at a number of different transportation models for Columbus. But one example that I'll share is that I went to Charlotte a couple years ago, and I hopped on their light rail system, and I just rode it as far as I could go. And the economic development that has happened along those corridors is just amazing. So I think that we should at least put that into our thinking when we're thinking about mass
It's happening
transit.
in Minneapolis, St. Paul's is the same way.
And we got nothing on traffic with New York and
Right.
Washington. I mean, come on.